Hey guys, how you all doing today? I'm Vintage Meteor, and this is my attempt at completing a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Silver. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Nuzlockes, I've included the full rule set in the description below, but essentially, I'm only allowed to catch my first encounter in each area. If a Pokemon faints, it must be released, or permaboxed. No using items in battle except for held items, no leveling up past the next gym leader's ace, and we have to play on set mode. Now, we all have that first Pokemon game that got us into the franchise, and for me, that was Silver. I remember playing it on my sister's Game Boy Color as a kid and thinking it was really tough, but surely now as an adult, it should be way easier, right? Right. As always, we name ourselves Vintage, and our adventure gets underway. After helping our geriatric mother, who has forgotten what day of the week it is, and how to use a phone, we can actually go get our starter from Professor Elm straight away. We interrupt this window washer from doing his job and get shoved, which is fair enough, and head into the lab. Inspired by Professor Oak making us his mailman, Professor Elm is willing to give us a Pokemon, but only if we run an errand for him. Are these rare Pokemon really less valuable to these guys than taking 2 minutes to walk to the next town? Not complaining, we choose Cyndaquil, name him Torb, and head into the wilderness. Beating up some squirrels and pigeons, we arrive in Cherry Grove City, where this old man gives us a tour of the 4 buildings in his town, and explains to us what the ocean is. Heading north on Route 30, and we come across this battle for the ages, which is definitely worth blocking all pedestrian traffic. Arriving at Mr. Pokemon's house, we can collect the Mystery Egg. Here, we also reunite with Professor Oak, who gives us a Pokédex and tasks us with gathering data for his research, which really just emphasises how unwilling old white men in academia are to do their own fieldwork. As any sane person would do when they've just been robbed, Professor Elm calls the police, and his 10-year-old neighbour, to seek justice. Making our way back home to see what's happened, we run into the aggressive window washer from before, and it turns out the whole thing was a clever ruse, just to steal a Pokemon. But seriously, how does this unarmed child overpower Professor Elm, his aide, and 2 Pokemon? The whole thing smells like insurance fraud to me. With our level advantage, Torb makes short work of his Totodile, and even though this guy is 0-1 in all Pokemon battles, his confidence is as high as ever. Arriving back at the lab, we tell the police we just met the culprit, and that his name is Topaz, named after one of our new subscribers. And if you subscribe and leave a comment below, I might make you my next rival so you can enjoy emotionally scarring me by killing my Pokemon. We give Professor Elm the Mystery Egg on the condition that he doesn't just send it straight back to me after 1 badge, receive some Pokeballs, and officially begin the run. We go to give our poor mother some closure, and decide to leave her with an allowance because we're a good son. And also she's likely to need some in-home care if she can't remember the day or time. Bulking up our team, we catch a Sentret on Route 29 and name her Symmetra, a Spearow on Route 46 named Hanzo, a Weedle named Reaper on Route 30, a Pidgey named Farah on Route 31, a Geodude in Dark Cave who we name Hammond, and a Rattata in Sprout Tower who we couldn't name Junkrat because she's female, so we just go with Tracer. While beating up some monks with a worm, Reaper evolves into Kakuna. Getting some wise advice from some more monks, we then witness Topaz obliterate Sage Lee hard enough to make the tower shake. Full credit to him, because despite being soundly defeated, he's good to go for round 2 right away. We get through his team unscathed, and the old man flashes us as a reward. Without further ado, we head to the gym to earn our first badge from Faulkner. After the success of the first generation of Pokemon games, and introducing an exciting new 100 Pokemon for Gen 2, I'm sure they give the gym leaders a great opportunity to showcase all these exciting new Pokemon. He leads with Pidgey, so we send out Hammond. And naturally, Pidgey's signature move here is Mud Slap, which is super effective against us and continually lowers our accuracy. We manage to land 1 tackle and get a crit, but then decide to switch out to reset our accuracy for his next Pokemon, and 2 more pecks from Hanzo take him out. Next out is his level 9 Pidgeotto, which seems borderline illegal. We trade a couple of pecks with Gus before he brings us to the red, and forces us to switch back to Hammond. We only land one tackle before our accuracy falls too low again, so we send out Tracer, who finishes the job with a couple of quick attacks, earning us the Zephyr badge. Upon exiting the gym, we get a phone call from Professor Elm, and I swear to God, if this is what I think it is, I'm gonna lose it. Well, I guess that's breakfast sorted. Heading south onto Route 32, and we encounter a Mareep, and name him Winston, which adds some really good type coverage to our team. Continuing on, and we find a travelling salesman who offers us a Slowpoke tail for only $1 million. We already have breakfast sorted with our mystery egg, so we decline. Up until this point, we've had so many encounters and no deaths, so we're really cruising at the moment. Until we have to go through Union Cave. Looking at our team here, and we barely get through the cave without a death, which is crazy considering our entire team only has moves weak to rock types. There's only one more trainer until I can heal up in Azalea Town, and it's even an optional fight, but my OCD won't let me skip it. And it is here, on Route 33, where we meet Hiker Anthony and his Geodude. Of course he knows Rock Throw, and of course he ate his vitamins this morning and can't miss. We go down hard, and we're forced to restart. Dusting ourselves off, on our second attempt we pick Cyndaquil again and name him Torb2, and fly through the first part of the game, arriving back at Hiker Anthony. This time around, we actually get a Pidgey on Route 29 instead of Sentret, meaning we could encounter a Bellsprout on Route 31, which definitely makes all the difference. We did however miss out on Mareep, instead running into Ekans, so you win some and you lose some. With Hiker Anthony defeated, we arrive in Azalea Town, and head straight to Kurt's house, where he vows to teach Team Rocket a lesson in pain. We follow our fearless leader into battle, and he instantly falls down the well. Beating up some Rocket grunts, and Torb2 evolves into Quilava, in time for us to defeat Team Rocket and listen to them monologue about their history. Kurt arrives at the perfect time now that all the work is done, and has made a miraculous recovery, which kinda smells like disability fraud. With Team Rocket taken care of for now, we head into Azalea Gym to face Bugsy and... oh, Togepi hatches, and ruins our upcoming meal plans. Man, I wish I'd stocked up on some Slowpoke tail now. We face Bugsy, and just like Faulkner before him, he's keen to show off his shiny new Johto Pokemon. We start with Torb2, and one Ember wipes out his Metapod, and Kakuna, before Scyther comes out. We trade a few Embers for Fury Cutter, and eventually take him down. If this match had gone for one extra turn, he would have had me, as Fury Cutter builds power with each consecutive use. We claim the Hive Badge and make our way into Ilex Forest, until Topaz stops us to vent some of his insecurities. Losing to me again certainly isn't going to help him. We lead with Farah, and he sends out Ghastly, who is incredibly annoying, but not particularly threatening. He puts us to sleep a few times, and gets off a few spites, just before we wake up and finish him off with a couple of gusts. Next out is his Zubat, who misses us with 2 Supersonics before flinching us with Bite. He then lands his 3rd Supersonic, but we break through confusion to wipe him out with a final gust. Out comes Croconaw, and he hits us with a decently strong Rage, and we hit ourselves in confusion. Fondly remembering my run of Pokemon Blue and getting myself stuck into using Rage, I figure I can safely switch out to Hammond to resist the attack, as he won't be able to swap to Water Gun. Oh, how I was wrong. Turns out they actually changed that mechanic in Gen 2, and Rage no longer locks in the user. This does give us a safe switch to Baptiste the Bellsprout, who can finish the fight with a couple of Vine Whips. Talking to me afterwards, and he seems to have a deep-seated hatred towards Team Rocket, almost like he has some unresolved daddy issues or something. Heading into Ilex Forest, and we run into an Oddish and name him Orisa, despite being a male. We then run around the forest chasing this damn chicken just to get the HM for cut. Pushing deeper into the forest, we find this guy headbutting trees. Are you okay, buddy? Heading straight through Goldenrod, and on Route 35, we can catch a Nidoran and name her Junker Quen. Close enough. Soon after, she evolves into Nidorina, as Farah also evolves into a Pidgeotto, and our appropriately named Junkrat evolves into Raticate. And with that, we're as ready as we're gonna be to face Whitney and her impossible milk tank. But first we have to get through her Clefairy. I have a plan, so we lead with Orisa and go for Sleep Powder. But it misses, and by some cruel twist of fate, Clefairy goes for Metronome, and hits us with Sleep Powder. She gets us down pretty low here, so we switch out to Junkerquen on a pretty weak double slap. A couple of double kicks takes out Clefairy, but she's managed to get us to round half, leading into Miltank. She then makes our worst nightmare come true as she goes for a rollout. We can get off a couple of double kicks, bringing her to around a third before we have to switch. Knowing she's about to hit us like a train, we go to sack Orisa, and she misses. Unfortunately, she doesn't miss the second time and we go down to Stomp. Orisa's sacrifice does let us get in Junkrat safely and get off a strong Hyper Fang, but she holds on and goes for a Tract. We go for one final Hyper Fang to finish her off, but we don't break through the attraction, and she goes for Milk Drink, recovering half her health. We go for another Hyper Fang, and this time we do break through as she goes for Rollout. This really isn't looking good, but luckily she misses her second rollout, as we continue to be immobilized. We go through this nervous cycle of Junkrat not being able to move, and she continues to miss. Finally, she lands 2 in a row, and I know I can't take a third. We go for one final Hyper Fang, and we finally break through to take her down. Orisa does actually evolve from beyond the grave right after the fight, which is a bit grim. And then Whitney refuses to give us our plane badge until she stops crying, which frankly just seems unprofessional. We're now able to pick up the squirt bottle, which this woman didn't trust us with until we could prove we're stronger than Whitney. It sprays water. We go to water this tree and it attacks. Who the hell trusted a 10-year-old with this fucking squirt bottle? We catch the Sudowoodo and name him Ramatra. This also lets us pick up the TM for Rock Smash. That's right, they made Rock Smash a TM in these games, because why not cause endless anxiety to 8-year-old me who accidentally deleted it and assumed I needed it to complete the game, so just reset like 20 hours of progress? Cool. With Route 7 opened up, we're now only a stone's throw from Ecruteak City, where we find Bill, who managed to transfer his consciousness into a Pokémon in the first gen, and never one to rest on his laurels, has now invented time travel, but refuses to use it for anything useful. In a totally non-creepy way, we follow Bill back to Goldenrod, where he tells us he has a time-travelling Eevee for us to love and cherish. We name him Zenyatta, which might give you a hint which way this evolution's gonna go. With our new little buddy, we duck back up to Ecruteak and try to stroll on into the Tin Tower, but this monk has crazy reaction time for a guy his age. But that's fine, I don't want to go in there anyway. Damn, he's good. Not letting that monk ruin my enthusiasm for towers, we then head into the Burn Tower, where we find none other than Topaz, waiting for us menacingly. This time around, he leads with his newly evolved Haunter, and we lead with Zenyatta, because I didn't think about it. Not being able to touch him, we switch to Torb 2 on a curse, and switching again to Junkerquen, and we just get spited. Spout? Haunter then paralyzes us with a lick, before a few Mudslaps can take him down. Magnemite's out next, and we tank a strong Sonic Boom as we're fully paralyzed. Forced to switch now, and we send out Torb 2 on another Sonic Boom for around a third, before slapping him down with a 4x effective dig. Topaz then sends out Crocodile, so we swap to Baptiste on a water gun. We can then put him to sleep and start chipping away with Vine Whip. He only sleeps for one turn though, and then hits us with a pretty strong bite, causing us to flinch. A second bite brings us to just 3 HP, as Vine Whip brings him to around a third. We swap out to Farah and a few gusts take him down. Last out is his Zubat, but between Farah and Junkrat, he goes down easily, winning us the battle. As we act all cool having defeated our rival, our mum calls us to ruin our street cred. Mum, this is so embarrassing, I don't care if you bought me another doll, I'm trying to beat my rival. God. Diving through a hole in the floor of the Burn Tower, and we can find a Coughing and name her Widow, before spooking some wild dogs and forcing them to flee their only home. Totally worth it though, because Baptiste evolves into Weeping Bell while grinding for Morty. Heading into the gym, and while working my way through the trainers, I wisely put Haunter to sleep, before cycling a bunch of my Pokemon into the battle to earn some XP. Naturally, Haunter wakes up after one turn and traps our poor Junkrat, who sadly only knows normal type moves. This is a living nightmare. I can't do anything and have to just sit here and watch as my poor rat slowly dies. I'm so sorry, Raticate, my greed has killed again. Bringing Ramatra onto the team, and we're ready to face Morty. We lead with our newest addition, and he sends out Ghastly. Fortunately, we don't get paralysed against Ghastly, and can knock him out with a hard rock throw. Haunter is next, but he only goes for Nightshade, as we land a crit rock throw to knock him out too. He sends out his Gengar, so we swap to Torb 2 on a Hypnosis, and immediately switch again to Junkerquinn on a Dream Eater. We go from Mudslap to lower his accuracy as he misses. The next turn though, he uses Mean Look to prevent us from switching, and then lands a Hypnosis despite all the accuracy drops. We're trapped here, so we have to hope for a miss and to wake up, and he does miss his first Dream Eater as we stay asleep, but unfortunately he lands his next, taking us out and restoring all of his HP in one fell swoop. We send out Ramatra again, and he misses a few more Hypnoses, while we take him out with a couple of rock throws. His last Pokemon is a second Haunter, but he only goes for Mean Look, then Nightshade, as Rock Throw wipes him out, winning us the Fog Badge. We add Widow to our party, pick up the HM for Surf from the Kimono Girl's Pimp, and head out west on Route 38. And our encounter here is Entei. And while this is really cool, he could also just choose to annihilate my entire team. Luckily, he does just flee, which I'm kind of okay with. Continuing on, we find a barn with a sick Miltank who needs berries to survive. We give him one, which doesn't help at all, and, well, my Koalava knows Dig if you need help burying it. Sorry. Arriving in Olivine, and Topaz gives us some friendly advice to make us less weak, and yeah, I could train in the lighthouse, or I could get literal strength from this sailor. On the beach just south of here, we can pick up a Krabby to abuse for Surf, and in the lighthouse, we have some sparkling conversation with some trainers, and I do definitely feel stronger for it. Thanks, Topaz. We make our way to the top and find Jasmine ignoring all her work duties to play with her pet. Relatable. Sent to fetch medicine for her sick Ampharos, we surf to Cianwood City, and make it there without any deaths. Just. Here we can pick up the secret potion from this hippie, and promise to raise and care for this boy Shuckle. So the last thing we do is rob him of his item, then cram him into an increasingly cramped storage system to never again see the light of day. Moving on, we can surf off the coast of the island on Route 41, and we actually get pretty lucky by finding a Tentacruel, who we name Zaya. With that, we can head straight to the gym to challenge Chuck, who quite effectively scares the shit out of us by launching a boulder out of his gym. He leads with Primeape, so we send out Farah, who can get through him pretty easily with a couple of gusts. Next out is Poliwrath, and we actually land a crit on our first move before he uses Mind Reader, meaning he's about to smash us with a Dynamic Punch or a Hypnosis. Not really wanting either of those, we switch out to Widow, who gets promptly put to sleep. We then send out Baptiste on a pretty weak Surf before we dodge a Dynamic Punch and a Hypnosis, so a few more Vine Whips can take him down and win us the Storm Badge. We pick up the HM for Fly from Chuck's wife, who calls him overweight, completely unprompted. Ouch. With this, we can fly back to Olivine to cure Ampharos, allowing Jasmine to go back to the gym where she belongs. We're not quite ready to face her just yet, so we now head towards Mahogany Town, where on Route 42, we can catch a Heracross with the ancient technique of ramming our head against a tree. We name him Reinhardt despite being a female, because it just fits too well. In Mahogany now, and we try to walk past this guy who seems to be caught up in a pyramid scheme, where he has to stop every person from leaving this town and forcefully offer them a rare candy bar. We head into this creepy shop, where this guy sells Slowpoke Tail, and to be fair, at 9,800, it is incredibly cheaper than the one offered to us outside of Union Cave for $1 million, so it really does pay off to shop around. Heading north to the Lake of Rage, we kill a Gyarados just because it's different, and meet a guy in a cape who's cosplaying as a detective or something. We follow him back to our new favourite shop and watch him commit first-degree murder with a Hyper Beam from his level 50 Dragonite. Why is this guy considered morally superior to Team Rocket again? Following our fearless leader into the Rocket hideout, and he tells us we need 2 passwords to open the door. But because Team Rocket is full of exemplary employees, I'm sure finding both will be pretty hard. The Rocket executive proves he deserves that job, as he's the only employee who didn't tell me the password upon being defeated. His bird, however, was a bit of a snitch. In the generator room, Lance continues his homicidal tendencies by telling us to kill 3 electrodes, which we do out of fear for our own life more than anything else. He does give us the HM for Whirlpool though, and we're now able to head to the gym to face Icy Pricey. He leads with Seal, so we lead with Reinhardt, who can land a fairly weak Fury Cutter as we take an Icy Wind, lowering our speed. The beauty of Fury Cutter though is the increase in power with consecutive hits, so a 3rd Fury Cutter takes him out, and Price sends out Dugong. He hits us with a pretty weak Aurora Beam, and we hit him hard with a 4th Fury Cutter. He rests off the damage, but another hit takes him down. Out comes his ace, Piloswine, but unfortunately for him, Fury Cutter is now up to a base of 160, so he goes down to a single hit, earning us the Glacier Badge. Before facing Jasmine, we decide to bulk up our team with the TM for Fire Blast, which of course is only available in the game corner. So, after selling all of my possessions so I can gamble obsessively, we finally make enough. Seriously, how did this feature get through to a children's game? With this, we head over and face Jasmine for our 6th badge? 7th badge? She leads with Magnemite, and we lead with Zenyatta for those juicy friendship points. And nothing says friendship more than being paralysed and forced to bite electrified solid steel. We switch out to Torb 2 on a pretty strong Thunderbolt before Flame Wheel knocks him out. She then sends out her ace, Steelix. We figure we probably need to risk it for Fire Blast, and luckily we land and take it down in one hit. Last out is a second Magnemite, but a dig easily takes him down, winning us the battle. We go to leave the gym, and Professor Elm calls us yet again to tell us that Team Rocket is messing with the radio broadcast. We literally saw a police officer at his lab in the start of the game, so I know for a fact that law enforcement exists in this society. Sadly, as no one else apparently wants to deal with this, we fly back to Goldenrod Radio Tower to wipe out Team Rocket yet again. While working through the grunts, Zenyatta's friendship maxes out and evolves into Espeon, and Torb 2 evolves into Typhlosion. We get told that the director is being held captive on the top floor, so we go to rescue him. Until he blows our freaking minds, as he turns out to be yet another Rocket executive. I'm not exactly sure why he's posing as the director if he's just going to break his cover when someone enters the room, but we all have to have a creative outlet, I suppose. He has the ultimate suicide squad, all waiting to self-destruct on me, so we lead with Torb 2 to try to avoid that with Dig. Somewhat underwhelmingly, none of them actually explode, so we work through them fairly easily. In typical Team Rocket fashion, he then gives us a bunch of unprompted information about where to find the real director, and even gives us a key to the underground basement. They really are quite helpful once they're defeated. We head down to the underground, and instead of helping me take out this terrorist organisation which he also hates, Topaz attempts to stop us with another battle. He leads with Golbat, and we send out Zenyatta, who doesn't know any psychic moves yet, so has to rely on Headbutt and Shadow Ball. Next out is Sneasel, so we swap to Ramatra as he hits a couple of feint attacks, as we take him down with Rock Slide. He then sends out Feraligatr, so we swap to Zaya. We try to confuse him with Supersonic, but miss. 3 times. We swap to Acid to get some chip damage off before he gets us too low with Rage. We then switch to Baptiste, who can finish the job with Vine Whip. Out comes Magnemite, so we send out Ramatra, who instantly gets paralysed with Thunder Wave. We then get hit with a fairly strong Sonic Boom before breaking through paralysis to take him down with a low kick. His last Pokemon is Haunter, so we swap to Torb 2, who can use one last dig to win us the fight. Because I'm a completely competent Pokemon player, we of course realise we need to flick these switches in the right order, and that randomly turning certain ones on and off obviously would have little effect. After figuring out the right direction, which definitely didn't involve crying and yelling at my game, we cruise through to the basement of the department store. It's here we face off with this sadistic grunt who would happily sacrifice his own Pokemon's life if it means taking out another. Farewell, Baptiste. One day I will have a run where you can finally evolve into Victory Bell. We finally find the director, who gives us the card key for the radio tower and begs us for our help. So, you're kind of rescued now. Are you just gonna chill down here, or you wanna come and help me, or...? We then head back to the radio tower by ourselves, use the card key, beat up some grunts until Pharaoh evolves into Pidgeot, and then have our final showdown with Giovanni's sorry replacement. Now, we really need to be careful because this guy seems to have led the charge to reform Team Rocket, so this fight isn't gonna be... long. I mean, what did we expect from someone whose main priority in their crime organisation was to cut tails off animals and try to... what? Sell them? Eat them? Only after we've done all the heavy lifting does the director decide to join us. This guy would really get along well with Kurt. But he does give us the Silver Wing, so we can now jump over to Whirl Islands and face off with the Guardian of the Seas, Lugia, who fortunately isn't a water type for some reason and doesn't know any water moves, so Ramadra can make pretty easy work of it with Rock Slide. We can finally advance the game a bit now and head east of Mahogany Town onto Route 44, where we can pick up a Poliwhirl and name her Brig, who we only really need as Tentacruel can't actually learn Waterfall. Heading into the Ice Path, we have an opportunity to showcase our inability to overcome an obstacle designed for children, and we can pick up the HM for Waterfall. We're soon out of this icy hell and arrive in Blackthorn City ready to take on Claire for our 8th and final badge. Being a Dragon Gym Leader in Gen 2 is pretty rough, as she has exactly 2 evolution lines to pick from to make up her team. Given this, she somewhat predictably leads with Dragonair, so we send out Zaya. Thanks to our gambling addiction, we've picked up the TM for Blizzard, so we outspeed and take her down in one hit. Next out is... Dragonair. Again. Now, this one may have Thunderbolt, so we play it safe and swap out to Reinhardt. They only go for a Thunder Wave though, so 2 strengths can take her out. Next out is... oh, come on, at least have a Dragonhide or something. Even Lance uses fake dragons like Charizard and Aerodactyl. They miss 2 slams, and we avoid paralysis, so 2 more strengths can send her to the now overcrowded Dragonair hell. Finally, her ace comes out, which actually does showcase an awesome new Johto Pokemon. Just the 4th one out of all gym leaders. We're still pretty healthy, so we can stay in, tank a Surf, and get off a decent strength for about a third. We then swap back to Zaya, who takes a Hyper Beam for about half. Knowing she has to recharge, we go for a Sludge Bomb, and another, to take her out and win our final badge. Or I would have if Claire didn't refuse to give it to me until I proved I was worthy. I mean, what was the entire point of that battle then? Seriously, this is the 2nd gym leader who has refused to give us the badge after winning, proving that the Johto crew really are sore losers. I mean, even Giovanni, our arch nemesis, gave us the Earth badge without hesitation and disbanded his entire criminal empire when we defeated him in Gen 1. Am I saying Whitney and Claire are worse than a Poké terrorist? You're damn right I am. She finally gives us the Rising badge, and we can head back to New Bucktown via Route 45, where we find a Phampi, and name him Bastion. And literally 2 encounters later, we have another minor heart attack after running into Suicune. We try to trap it for some reason, but it just flees. After getting the Master Ball from Professor Elm, we can backtrack a bit and get our final relevant encounter in the ruins of Alph. After running in and out of caves for an hour because I'm stubborn, I finally realise I need to go via Union Cave to get to where I'm going. It's here in this tiny patch of grass we can find a Natu. It's really not going to be often where we can use the channel's mascot in a run, so I feel obliged to take advantage of it. We name her Anna, and hide her away until the Elite Four. I don't want to hear how terrible her moveset and stats are, trust me, I know. We flash our 8 badges to this guard quite unceremoniously and head into Victory Road. Cruising through the cave, and right before the exit, we're stopped by Topaz, who challenges us to one final battle in a last-ditch attempt to seek validation. Luckily, I remembered this fight existed, so we lead with Torb 2 against his Sneasel, who can outspeed and take him out with one Flame Wheel, forcing him to send out for Alligator. We switch out to Farah on a Water Gun before responding with a Wing Attack. He then switches to Rage, and scared that he'll begin stacking them up, we switch to Fly to break the streak, as he only goes for a Slash anyway. We trade a final Wing Attack with a Slash and knock him out. Next out is his Magneton, so we switch out to Torb 2 on a Thundershock, which paralyzes us. He only goes for another Thundershock doing minimal damage, and we break through the paralysis to take him out with a Flame Wheel. Out comes his Golbat, who confuses us, but we break through and hit him with a big Fire Blast, which takes him down too. Haunter is next, and fearing being trapped in with a Curse Haunter while paralysed and confused, we wisely swap to Zenyatta on a Mean Look. We can outspeed, and one Psybeam is enough to take him out, forcing his last Pokemon, Kadabra, who just goes down to a single Shadow Ball, winning us the battle and causing Topaz to have an existential crisis. And with that, we can begin to prep our team to take on the Elite Four. We pull Anna from the box to replace Farah, and evolve her into a glorious Xatu. Grinding up the rest of our team to level 47 to match Karen's Houndoom, and we head on in to face Will and his Psychic types. We gotta respect him here, as he leads with Xatu. Baller move. Zenyatta gets off a strong Shadow Ball before getting confused, but we snap out of it pretty quick, and after another Shadow Ball, we take him down. Out comes his next Xatu, and despite using a max potion, a few more Shadow Balls see him fall too. His Jinx falls even faster, and he then sends out Executor, who tanks the Shadow Ball pretty well, but only gets off a Leech Seed and misses an Egg Bomb before also falling. Slowbro is next, who takes about a third before just going for Amnesia. Leech Seed is chipping away at us though, so we swap here to Ana, as Slowbro continues buffing himself with stat boosts. Knowing his defenses are continuing to rise, we go for Nightshade, which always deals consistent damage based on the target's level. He does hit us with a decent body slam for just under half, before going down and winning us the first battle. Next up is Koga, who's been promoted since last game. Good for him. He leads with Ariados, and we send out Ana. We get off a Future Sight, as he just goes for Double Team. We then go for a Fly and just barely don't knock him out, before Future Sight kicks in to finish him off. He then sends out Fortress, so we switch to Torb 2, as he gets up a layer of spikes. A 4x effective Flame Wheel wipes him out, and out comes his Muck. We swap back to Ana, as he goes for Minimize, because Koga's entire team is simply designed to annoy you to death. We set up a Future Sight before missing a Fly, and as he continues to go for Minimize, we keep missing with Future Sight. We do land a Fly, but Muck's physical defense is too high for it to make an impact. We decide to switch to Nightshade, attempting to land some more consistent damage, but we do get badly poisoned. He gets us down pretty low before we're able to finish him off. Out next is Crobat, so we swap to Ramatra, who gets Toxiced, but almost wipes him out with a single Rock Slide. After using a full restore, a Strength and Rock Slide are enough to take him out. His final Pokemon is Venomoth, so Torb 2 comes back out on a Psychic before a Flame Wheel can finish him off, defeating Koga. Next up is Bruno with his fighting types, who is standing in a room full of lava. The Poké-League budget must be insane. He leads with Hitmontop, and we send out Ana again. We get hit with a weak Quick Attack, then set up a Future Sight. Fly then leaves him in the red, before Future Sight comes back in to finish him off. Out comes his Onix, so we swap to Reinhardt on a Sandstorm. We can then do about 3/4 with Earthquake, as Onix just misses his Rock Slide. Another Earthquake takes him out, and he sends out his Hitmonchan. Now, this guy has some actual type coverage, so we swap out to Zaya on a Fire Punch. We then get off a strong Sludge Bomb and tank a pretty weak Thunder Punch before finishing him off with Surf. Next out is Hitmonlee, but he also goes down to a Sludge Bomb and a Surf, forcing out his ace, Machamp. We hit him for around a third with Surf before he hits us pretty low with Rock Slide. We then switch out to Zenyatta, who can finish him off with a Psychic. Now you're probably asking yourself, why haven't I been using Zenyatta instead of Ana all along if he knows Psychic? And the answer is, shut up, it's Xatu, leave me alone. The final member of the Elite Four is Karen, showcasing the newly introduced Dark type. Or, you know, any Pokemon with a dark colour palette. She starts off with Umbreon, so we send out Reinhardt. We try to build up some Fury Cutters, but with a combination of Sand Attack and Confused Ray, that plan quickly goes out the window. Swapping to Reversal, we bring him down to the red before breaking through Confusion once more and finishing him off with one last hit. Next out is Vileplume, so we swap to Ana on a Mist Stun Spore. We hit her with a fly, taking her down to the red, as she only responds with a resisted pedal dance. One more fly finishes her off, and out comes her Murkrow. Swapping to Ramatra, she hits us with 2 pretty hard feint attacks, but we land a Rock Slide and take her down. She then sends out Gengar, so we swap out to Zaya. She only goes for a Curse though, meaning that Surf can knock her out the next turn. Her last Pokemon is a Houndoom, who actually tanks a Surf, before responding with a Crunch. Using our Max Potion on her next turn, Gengar's Curse is continuing to work us down. We know we outspeed though, so one final Surf can win us the fight. With the Elite Four conquered, we can move through to Lance, our final obstacle to becoming Pokemon Champion. He leads with Gyarados, who he probably stole from Team Rocket at the Lake of Rage after absolutely murdering them, and we lead with Reinhardt. Because we're dumb and thought Strength was in our first slot, we try going for an Earthquake, which unsurprisingly doesn't land. But he only goes for a Rain Dance, so we don't get punished. We go for Strength on the next turn for around a third, and take a Surf for about the same. We go for a second Strength, as we get brought pretty low with a Flail before finishing him off. Aerodactyl's out next, so we send out Ramatra in attempts to make his Pokemon extinct yet again. He only hits us with a Wing Attack, and a Rock Slide, before our own can take him down in one hit. Out comes his first Dragonite, as we dodge a Thunder Wave and land a Rock Slide for about 2/3. He then goes for Thunder, bringing us down to just 17 HP, and paralysing us, as we go for Strength, worried about Rock Slide missing. This backfires as he holds on with a slither of HP. Thinking he'd surely heal this turn, we go for Rock Slide again, as he goes for another Thunder, but luckily misses, as we get fully paralysed. Having barely escaped with his life, I recall Ramatra and send out Zenyatta, as he goes for Hyper Beam, doing a ton of damage, before going down to Psychic. Out comes his next Dragonite, and fearing another Hyper Beam, we make a tough decision to sack Ramatra. This gives us a safe swap to Zaya, who can take him down with a single Blizzard. Out comes his last Dragonite, but we outspeed and go for another Blizzard, which also takes him down in one hit. His last Pokemon is Charizard, who actually tanks a Surf before trying another Hyper Beam for almost half. He can only recharge now, so one more Surf can finish him off and win us the championship battle. Having conquered all of Johto and the Pokemon League, Professor Oak and Mary show up for some free publicity from the new champ. We tell them to speak with our agent, as Lance and I dip. I can't believe we've done it. We've become the most powerful trainer in the world. Or so we thought. See, we've heard some reports of an unstoppable trainer at the summit of Mount Silver with a big mouth claiming he could take on the champ. Now the Kanto gyms are a bit of a hot mess with wildly inconsistent level caps, so let's just get straight to the good part. We add Bastion to our team to replace our fallen Ramatra and evolve him into a Donphan. Charging through Mount Silver, we find this stupid kid with his stupid forward-facing cap. He leads with his Pikachu, which is a godly level 81, as we lead with our newest addition, Bastion. He tries to lower our attack with Charm, but fails, as we take him down with a single Earthquake. Out comes his Venusaur, so we swap to Torb too, as he begins charging up for a Solar Beam. We land a Fire Blast first though, and take him down in one hit. He then sends out his own Espeon, as we go for Fire Blast again, and hit again, and knock him out too. Next out is Blastoise, so we swap to Zaya as he goes for Rain Dance. We hit him with Sludge Bomb for about a third as he just goes for Surf. We then land a crit bringing him to the red, but also poison him to take him down. Snorlax comes out next, and he actually has really high special defense, so we swap out to Reinhardt as he only goes for Amnesia. We then go for a Mega Horn and land the crit to take him down too. His final Pokemon is his signature Charizard, so we go back to Bastion on a weak wing attack. He then traps us with a Fire Spin, and we take over half his HP with a rollout. He lands a Flamethrower next, but we hang on with just 7 HP, and one more rollout finishes the job. Unsurprisingly, he doesn't have anything to say once he's confronted with true greatness, and he runs before word can spread and ruin his street cred. And with that, we have defeated our toughest challenge in the game and cemented our spot as the undisputed champion. So that's it for this one, guys. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe and leave a like and a comment below for your chance to be my rival in the next run. I'll catch you all next time.